Hey everybody, it's been quite some time since my last review video, and I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things. Today we are focusing on Astoria, the Holders of Power saga. In Astoria, you're introduced to one of the Holders of Power, a knight by the name of Gareth who is, of course, betrayed and killed by the other Holders of Power, but not before he hands off his piece of the stone to his squire, Loras, commanding him to run. The game then abruptly puts you in control of the real protagonist, Nolan. A prince from a distant land, he is traveling incognito to avoid undue attention and to elicit help from a nearby kingdom, as his own is under siege from unknown powers. From here, the game proper opens up. You recruit, slowly, more members for your party, and you get to dive more into the story of what the Holders of Power want, and why they killed Gareth for his piece. The story is something I particularly enjoyed, and felt that while the ideas behind the plot were pretty traditional, the developer did enough to turn them on their ear to keep it a bit fresh and interesting. Nolan's quest for help slowly turns into one that understands the bigger threat, and his goals change accordingly. That's kind of an evolution of character that I really enjoyed. There are some plot holes, such as why he felt the need to hide who he really was in the first place, but they don't detract too much from the story itself. And as with many games of this nature, there are some interesting design choices. The game is hard. Not Dark Souls hard, mind you, but more of a ramped up difficulty for the sake of ramping up difficulty hard. The developer told me their intent was to make people go into each boss and encounter prepared and with a strategic mind, use items, debuff and buff the party, etc. So don't expect an RPG you can just grind out levels in and then bum rush the content. You have to take a moment to figure things out. The problem is, however, that a lot of the encounters require you to pretty much fail before you know what strategy will work. Very frustrating for boss encounters preceded by lengthy cutscenes. A recent update awards more gold and experience for every encounter. Thankfully, this takes a bit of the edge off that punishing difficulty that was mentioned earlier, and makes it easier to keep spells and other items in line with the level of creatures and encounters you're up against. Random encounters on the world map only. In dungeons, all enemy encounters are visible, and once defeated, they never respawn. But on the world map, you walk around, you can encounter as many enemies as you want. It has an excellent and engaging storyline. I personally got frustrated by a lot in the game, but the story kept me coming back for more, which I think is kind of a testament to how well it was written. And the game is affordable. At just $2.29 Canadian, in my opinion, the game is a steal. I've already invested about 20 hours into it, and I'm not even done yet. If you have a gamepad plugged in, you have to use it. Magic and abilities per party member are limited and must be bought. Instead of being able to access all spells and ability you train your party members in at any given time, you can only have a specific amount you can use in each battle. Some encounters and bosses are more like puzzles. The problem with that, however, is the solution to those puzzles may not always be readily apparent. The first major boss, a regenerating troll, has a solution in a book in an NPC's house. Use fire, by the way. The game's direction and flow can at times be a bit muddy. It's easy to get lost on exactly what to do next in mostly the first half of the game. There's no quest log, so if you aren't paying attention, you're going to have a bad time. It's been mentioned before, but the game is punishingly difficult. Even with the improved experience and gold drops, the game is hard as nails. In some ways it's great and challenging. In others it feels cheap and makes moving forward more of a chore. Lots of trial and error. This goes back to the mention of the puzzle bosses and things like that, but the developer expects the player to adjust their magic and abilities to suit the encounter. The problem is, for most encounters, you have to fight it first to know what would work best. Basically a fail once, then come up with a planned strategy. There are a couple of points where it goes, whoop, there go your items. Yeah, you lose all of your items in this game at a couple points. It's frustrating and completely unnecessary. At the end of the day, Astoria, the Holders of Power saga is a great little RPG that has some glaring faults, but nothing that is too horrible to overcome with a little persistence and a bit of luck. I definitely recommend it, especially if you could take the time to be careful and make sure you don't rush through battles, like a certain undead bird. I'm HawkZombie. Thanks for listening.